Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, fine. This will also be fine. Then later on we can retreat and load it on up YouTube. Okay. निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So we were studying Krambad Paryay, and in that we were looking at the Krambad Paryay from 4 exposition. So initially we covered Pratman Yog, then we covered Karnanu Yog, then Charnan Yog, which was not mentioned in the textbook, but additionally I told you about Charnan Yog. And today we are going to discuss Dravyan Yog. Okay. So in regards to Dravyan Yog, already we had discussed Samaysar's reference, verse number 308 to 311 in the very first definition. Then we also did some detailing about 8 from Kartikenu Preksha. That was the second reference. That was also in the definition of Krambat Paryay. And now the third reference that is coming up is Pravachan Sarji, verse number 99. So the language is a bit difficult, but I'll explain you and I will make it more very easy. So in this particular verse number 99 in Pravachan Sarji, Acharya Kunkund Dev tries to prove the principle of sequentially bound modification through the structure of substance, attributes, and modification. Okay. So first of all, he proves the existence of the substance. Then in the first step, the evolution, the extinction, and the permanence, that is that what defines existence in the modification. Okay. So one particular modification, say consider 97, 98, 99. Okay. So when there is an evolution of modification number 98, same time there is cessation. Okay, cessation or extinction. Yeah, extinction could be a good word. Extinction of modification number 97. Same moment. Okay. And the third part is permanence. Okay. Now, how this permanence? Permanence has been explained from two different angles. The first angle is that as a flow, it is permanent. One particular modification evolves and gets extinct. but as a flow, it is always permanent. Example, if you look at fan, it has got 3 blades or 4 blades. But when it is moving, right? So while moving, you are not able to distinct 3 blades or 4 blades. You just know only the flow, right? So similarly, as a flow, it is permanence. That is number one. The number two, the modification which is there in the sequence, it cannot be changed. 97, then 98 only will come. Then 99 will come. Then 100 will come. It cannot happen that after 97 you get 110 and then after 110 you get 100. No. It follows so that particular modification in that flow is prefixed, determined, predetermined. Okay. And that cannot be changed. So from that perspective also it is permanent. Okay. So the substance as a whole is identified by these 3 attributes: evolution, extinction, and permanence. Now this evolution, extinction, permanence, first we proved in the modification. Okay. Then the next we are going to prove it in the substance. Okay. So only these 2 things has been depicted in this verse number 99, and they wanted to prove this principle of sequentially bound modification. But for that, they used the example of space points. Okay. As in India, Kolkata and Mumbai. Okay. Kolkata is in the east, Mumbai is in the west. We cannot change the space of Mumbai to Kolkata and Kolkata to Mumbai. And nobody even thinks of doing that, because everyone is convinced that the place cannot be changed, right? We cannot lift Mumbai from here and put it to Kolkata and lift Kolkata and put it here. That is not possible and no one thinks about it. But when it comes to modification, everyone tries to change it and everyone believes that they can change the sequence of modification. Okay. So because of that, yeah, anyone asking any question? No. Okay. So by giving the example of space points, okay, Acharya wants to prove us that since the space points cannot be changed from its place, similarly, any modification cannot be changed from its place. So 97 will come at 97 only, 98 will come at 98 only, and 99 will come at 99 only. And this is what the principle of sequentially bound modification states, right? So from Dravyani Yoga, these pravachans are with the help of substance, attributes, and modification, and its existence. And existence is characterized by evolution, extinction, and permanence, right? So in this way, the structure has been proved. Okay. And the principle of sequentially bound modification has also been proved. Okay. So with this background, I think you will be able to understand what we are going to read. Okay. So now we will begin the reading. Just language is a bit difficult, but as I explained you, that what Acharya wants to prove us is that since the space points cannot be changed, similarly modifications cannot be changed. This is the essence of this whole verse. Yeah, so we will we'll start this. Just as the substance, though one in its totality, in its indivisibility, is in terms of spatial extension. So as a substance, through though one in totality. Okay. So now if you look at the floor, there are say 10 tiles on the floor. So when you look at the first tile, okay, you are focusing on the first tile, so you are not looking at second tile. When you are looking at second tile, okay, it means the evolution. And at the same time, the first tile is extinct, right? And as a floor, okay, as a indivisible floor, it is permanence. Okay, so all three things are there. So just as we discussed in this spatial extensions or space points, similarly in modification also, right? There is a sequential that they follow, and that sequential cannot be changed. Okay, so first we will see the example. Just as the substance, though one in its totality, okay, in totality the floor is one, in its indivisibility, is in terms of spatial extension composed of subtle parts known as space points. Okay, so in a floor there are say 10 tiles, 15 tiles. Each tile is independent and separate, distinct from another tile. Okay, similarly this spatial extension composed of subtle parts, okay, very subtle parts known as space points, pradesh. In the same way, through the activity or function, that is vritti. In Hindi, vritti means modification. Through the activity or modification of the substance, as a flow, it is one. Okay, is one in its totality. As a unified flow, it is one. In terms of temporal flow, okay, it is composed of subtle parts known as transformations or modifications. Okay, so 97 modification, then 98, 99. The flow goes on. But if you look at the flow, it is permanent. Okay, but if you look at one particular modification, it is evolving, the previous one is getting extinct, and simultaneously as a flow, it is permanence. Okay, just as the cause of spatial just as the cause of spatial extension is the mutual distinctness of space points. Each space point is distinct from another space point. Okay, and that's why we are able to establish the indivisibility in totality. Okay, because the totality is space points, one space point, second space point, third space point. It goes on like this, and as a one, as a totality, it is one. Okay, but when you look at the space points, these are different. Just as the cause of spatial extension is the mutual distinctness of space points, similarly, the cause of temporal flow is the mutual distinctions of modifications. Understood? Tell me, Himali, what you understood.
So I understood
Unmute.
the example that
Hmm.
that if you have these numbers or if you have these cities, you cannot kind of alter either their space point or their sequence.
No, sequence is not the. Now the example is given of only space points. You cannot change the place of Kolkata to Delhi,
Right.
Delhi to Kolkata. Okay, so you cannot change the place of that city. But similarly, this is an example. Similarly, the modifications also cannot be changed. As we cannot change the space points, it is there in which place we cannot change their places, right? Similarly, the flow of modification is also sequential and we cannot change it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what they want to explain. They are using the space point as an example to prove you the natural flow of the modification in a particular sequence. Okay, so this is what they want to prove. So what is the basis of this spatial extension? Is the mutual distinctness distinctness of space point. Similarly, the cause of temporal flow is the mutual distinctness of modification. So each modification is separate. When you look at a particular modification, it is separate and it is always undergoing evolution, extinction all the time. Okay. Now we will first prove it in the modification, and in the next paragraph we will be relating it to the substance. What we are going to relate? Three things, three attributes: evolution, extinction, and permanence. Because that is the characteristics of existence. For anything to exist and for anything to exist, there must be these changes happening in the modification while the substance remains permanence. Okay. So in this manner, uh, the three attributes is quite evident. It's the characteristics of existence. Okay. And existence is the characteristics of substance. Okay. So we are proving you the internal structure of each and every substance is same. There is substance, there is attributes, there is modification. All the time modifications are evolving, new modification coming up, old one getting extinct, and simultaneously the substance remains permanent. Okay, so this structure they want to prove, and by this structure they want to also prove that this sequence of modification cannot be changed. And if it cannot be changed, then the principle of sequentially bound modification has been proved. Okay, so they have proved this through Dravyanyog. Okay, now first we will see these three attributes in modification, and then we will see it in the substance. Now see this paragraph, second paragraph. Just as the space point by arising in their own, this is the example. Okay, just as the space points by arising in their own form at their designated location, okay, and perishing in their prior form. Okay, so how it is happening? When you are looking at the second space points, okay, the first space point is perished. When you look at the third space point, the second is perished. Okay, so in one moment there is an evolution, there is a extinction and permanence, all three together in that particular space point. Okay, how is the permanence proved in the space point? The permanence is proved that when you look it at a whole, as a whole, the whole floor, it is permanent. But if you look at a particular tiles, it is evolved. Wherever you look, number of tiles, number 3 you are looking. So it is called evolution. And simultaneously, the second one has got extinct. Okay. And as a whole, it is permanent. So this is the example. Okay. Just as the space points, by arising in their own form at their designated location and perishing in their prior form. So 2 is perished. When 3, you are looking at 3. And by being interwoven, next to next, they are all tiles are next to next. So they are interwoven with one another everywhere to constitute an indivisible reality. Okay, are characterized by origination. Origination means evolution. Cessation means extinction, and permanence. Utpad, Vyay, Dhruv. Okay. In Hindi, we call it as Utpad, Vyay, Dhruv. So if you want to prove existence of anything, you have to look at this whether Utpad Vyay is happening in that. Yes. Whether it is permanent also simultaneously. Yes. Then the existence has been proved. Okay. So this is the example that is complete. Now the principle. In the same way, the modifications by arising in their own form at their proper moment and perishing in their previous form, and by being interwoven with one another everywhere to constitute a unified flow, are also characterized by origination, cessation, and permanence. Okay. So this is the what we proved. We proved origination, that is evolution, cessation, that is extinction, and permanence. You can change the word origination to evolution and cessation to extinction, because these words explain the better meaning. Okay, so we will be using these words evolution, extinction, and permanence. Permanence is same. Okay, so this is what we related to the one particular modification. So when you look at the flow, it is unified flow, so it is permanence. But when you look at one particular modification, it is evolution. And at the same moment, the previous modification has got extinct. Okay, and in the same moment, it is also permanence when you look at the unified flow. Okay, this is one. Now the permanence can be proved in another way, and that is that they say that particular modification that has evolved, that in their sequence cannot be changed. Okay, it will come at the designated time, and that time cannot be changed, that sequence cannot be changed, so that's why it is permanent. Okay, so the permanence has been proved from two perspectives. One is as a flow it is permanent, and the second one, the particular modification in its pre-designated time appears, it cannot be changed, so it is permanence. Okay, so this is about the one modification. We saw the three attributes: evolution, extinction, and permanence. Now we are going to prove evolution, extinction, and permanence in the substance itself. Okay, the next paragraph. And just as the smallest possible unit of the spatial extension, again example, of a substance is its space point. Okay, so this is the smallest possible unit of the spatial extension, say example floor, and the smallest possible unit is one tile. Okay, so here it is space points, and that unit arises in its own form while the preceding one ceases, gets extinct in its prior form. So new form has evolved, prior form has got extinct. And through mutual interwoven continuity, the substance, okay, now the change is, earlier we were proving this in the one particular modification. Now we were proving it in the substance. As a unified whole is neither truly produced nor destroyed, but is instead marked by evolution, extinction, and permanence. Okay, again this example is over. Now we are into the principle. In the same way, the smallest possible unit in the temporal flow of a substance is its modification, which arises in its own moment and form, while the preceding one ceases in its prior form and through mutual interwoven continuity in a unified stream, it is also characterized by origination, cessation, that is evolution, extinction, and permanence. Okay. So this is, they proved it in the substance. So in a substance, it is very easy. The modification keeps on evolving and getting extinct, and the substance remains permanent. Okay. So it is very easy when you consider it substance. But when you try to apply these three attributes in a particular modification, then it's a bit subtle and you have to understand it properly. So in this manner, the substance which is by nature in the mode of transformation. Okay. So every substance is transforming every moment. There is not a substance in the universe which is not transforming any moment. It is always transforming. There is a saying in the worldly existence that change is the permanent. Change is the constant. So every substance, every moment is modifying, transforming, right? While it remains permanent. So the transformation is happening in the modification, evolution and extinction, and as a substance, it is permanence. Okay. So this is the structure. So in this manner, the substance which is by nature in the mode of transformation characterized by three attributes, three lakshan: origination, cessation, that is evolution, extinction, and permanence, does not transgress its own inherent nature. Okay. Does not transgress its own inherent nature. What do you mean by transgress? It does not overlap, right? It does not overcross, okay, its own inherent nature. द्रव्य स्वभाव का अतिक्रम नहीं करता. Okay. Hence, the existence ought to be affirmed as possessing all three attributes, like pearls together, strung together in a necklace. Now, this example of pearls we are going to understand. So, you have been doing this mala since childhood. Every time we go to the temple, and there is 108 gems in that mala. The mala is interwoven by the thread. Okay. And as you take one gem coming out in your hand, and then in the next moment it has gone, the next one has come, right? So in that sequence of that mala, one particular gem cannot be changed, its place cannot be exchanged, right? And when you look at the first gem, then you move on to the second gem. So when you move on to the second gem, it is called evolution. Simultaneously, you have left the first gem, so that is extinction. And as a interwoven thread, the whole mala is permanent. Okay. So this is the structure that has been explained through the example of uh, pearls strung together in a necklace. So what I was referring to gems is referred to here as pearls. Okay. So each pearls, uh, it's strung together in a necklace. So that position of pearls cannot be changed. Just as pearls in just as in pearls hanging in a threaded necklace of fixed length, each pearl appears in its respective place. The pearls at the rear successively appear in their rearward positions, while the ones at the front no longer appear. And since the connecting thread, the creator of their mutual sequence, remains present throughout. So the thread is present throughout, but each pulse keep on changing. This gives rise to the recognition of the condition of the threefold nature of evolution, extinction, and permanence. Okay, so uh, this gives rise to the recognition of the condition of the threefold nature of evolution, extinction, and permanence. In the same manner, in a transformed substance that has adopted a continuous mode of functioning, okay, continuous mode of functioning, every moment it is new modifications are coming in all the substance of the universe. We are not talking about the soul only. Even matter also, every time it is getting wear and tear. Why? Because there is transformation happening every moment, right? All the modifications in the same manner in a transformed substance that has adopted a continuous mode of functioning, all the modification manifesting in their respective moment appears successively. Those corresponding to later moments appear subsequently, and those of earlier moments no longer appear. And since the flow, which constructs mutual sequence throughout, remains ever present, the condition of the threefold nature of evolution, extinction, and permanence becomes well recognized. Okay, so you see, they wanted to prove the sequentially bound modification, but they gave an example of the space points. Okay, so this is the end of the verse number 99. In this verse, they have tried to prove that each modification has its own time of evolution and has got its own time of extinction, and it keeps on happening all the time. Okay, so the sequence of that evolution and extinctions cannot be changed. Okay, and this goes on to prove the principle of sequentially bound modification. Okay, now we will read the bhavarth, that is essence. There you will understand better. Just as the smallest unit of the substance spatial extension is called space point, in the same way, the smallest unit in the substance flow is a modification. Each modification arises in its own time and form, perishes in the form it previously held, and because all modifications are interwoven into one unified flow, each modification while arising and perishing remains constant. Now, this constant has been defined in two ways. One is the unified flow, which is again a constant, and the other is that particular modification is that remains in that sequence and it cannot be changed. Okay, so in this way also it is permanence. Origination, cessation, and permanence are not temporarily distinct. They coexist simultaneously. In this uninterrupted sequence of modification that are characterized by evolution, extinction, permanence, the substance abides eternally in its own nature. Okay? The substance abides eternally in its own nature. Therefore, like origination, cessation, permanence. So this was the essence of that verse number 99. This is the end of module number 12. Okay. Now we are going to start the 13th, and in the 13th module also the same thing has been explained by giving example. We will be looking at 5 examples in this particular module, and which is going to prove the principle of sequentially bound modification. So yesterday I shared something with you, Hemali. So that has to be, can you share that on the screen? But I
Yes.
have to make you a co-host. 1 minute. Huh? Co-host. So you can share later on. Let's first read 13th. The phrase an interwoven unified flow constructed through mutual interconnections everywhere, which appears multiple times in the above passage. This word interwoven, interwoven, interwoven is particularly worth noting. What it is, we have to understand very deeply. The analogy of a necklace of stringed pearls makes this clear. Just as the spatial position of the pearls in a necklace are fixed in their respective order, so too is the timing of their appearance in a hanging necklace regular and determined. In the same manner, just as the spatial point of each substance are fixed and definite, so too its temporal flow regular, that is determined and defined. Here, now the second example. The regular sequence of time is elucidated by means of the regular sequence of space. Okay, so the regular sequence of time, that is modification, is being explained by giving an example of the sequence of space, since spatial sequential order is relatively easier to comprehend. So here I am giving you the example of Mumbai cannot be moved to Delhi and Delhi cannot be moved to Mumbai. They remain in their own space that cannot be changed. Okay. Similarly, in time also, there is a particular sequence that goes on and that cannot be changed. Like after January, February will come. After February, March will come. We cannot change that sequence. Similarly, after Monday, Tuesday will come. After Tuesday, Wednesday will come. That sequence could not be changed. In the same manner, this spatial extension also cannot be changed. Just as and when a substance is considered with with respect to its entire spatial extension, the whole of its expanse is seen as one. In the same way, when the substance is viewed through all its modification across the three times, its time too is one. Eternally tritemporal, trikalic. Okay. So across three times, it is only one unified flow. Yet, just as in space there is a definite sequence of spatial points, so too in time there exists a definite sequential flow of modification. The conclusion of this example, just as space point is a unit in the sequential of spatial extension of a substance, so too a modification is a unit in the sequential flow, okay, of that substance. So there the second example ends. Third example starts. Although this statement is made in reference to all substances, it becomes easier to comprehend if the idea of spatial sequence is understood in the context of space substance, Akash Dravya. Just as each space point of the infinite space points of space, just as each space point of the infinite space points of space remains exactly where it is. There is no possibility of displacement. So too, the spatial points in all the substance follow a fixed sequential order. This very principle has been clarified through the analogy of a necklace of stringer pieced. There is no displacement. So do the spatial points in all substance will follow a fixed sequential order. This very principle has been clarified through the analogy of a necklace of string pearls. In such a necklace, the pearl that is placed in a certain position cannot have its position altered. Okay, so the position cannot be altered. Although space is an immobile substance and Jeev and matter are mobile substance, still by working the image of a swaying necklace, it has been clearly explained that just as the position of pearls in a singing necklace do not change their sequence, in the same way the order of space points does not change even within active jivas. Active jivas. Third example still continues. Just as the spatial extension of space and other substance is regular and fixed, in the same way their flow order sequence of modification is also regular. Just as alteration is not possible in the fixed order of spatial extension, so too is alteration not possible in the fixed order of flow. Just as the fixed order of spatial extension, so too is alteration not possible in the fixed order of now. Just as each space point has its determined position, similarly each modification has its determined time. Okay. So again, with the help of the space points, they have proved the principle of sequentially bound modification, which says that each modification has its predetermined time and it appears only in that particular time. Now, example 4. Just as there is a certain length in a movie reel and the images located at specific positions along that length remains fixed at those positions, their location cannot be changed. Okay, so we go to see a movie, so whatever he belts out for 3 hours, you have to just see it. You cannot fast forward also if you have happened to go to a theater to see a cinema, right? So just as there is a certain length in a movie reel and the images located at specific positions along that length remains fixed at those positions, their location cannot be changed. In the same way, now the principle, it is also fixed which image will appear in what sequence as the reel plays, but no alteration is possible in that either. Though we may know which image is going to appear next, it makes no difference, for it will appear only its predetermined and regular sequence. So in the moving earlier days, there were negatives, So each negative, when you put it in a continuous flow, it appears like a moving picture. Okay. So this example has been used from ancient times, and you have to take it that way. Okay. Now the fifth example. Just as the steps of a staircase have an unalterable and fixed spatial sequence with respond to their position. Likewise, there is an unalterable temporal sequence in ascending them. You cannot go from the first step to the fifth step, first to second, second to third. So there is an unalterable temporal sequence in ascending a staircase. Just as one can only know walk upon them, in the same way, just as one can only walk upon them in order, in the same way the act of ascending follows a fixed sequence in time as well. So 5 examples are over. Hope you have noted down. Now the conclusion. Just as the number of space points in inhabited universal equals the number of space points in a single jeev is the same. In the same way, the number of modifications of each substance equals the human nature of movement just as the number of space points in inhabited universe equals the number of space points in a single jeev. Okay. In the same way, the number of modification of each substance equal to the number of moments across the 3 times. So there are x number of modification in a substance, and that x number is the number of moments of across the 3 times, past, present and future. Okay. Each moment has one corresponding modification, and it is fixed. Fixed means prefixed. Just as on every space point of the inhabited world, one smallest indivisible unit of time is encrusted, so too in each and every moment across the 3 times.
So this is complicated.
They are just explaining the examples only, and means the principle that they are just wanted to prove the sequentially bound modification principle, and they have taken the support of space points to explain that, because we are all very fine with this decision that we cannot change a place of a particular place, right?
Yes.
Now, Calcutta cannot be changed to Delhi, Delhi cannot be changed to Kolkata. We are all accepting this. But when it comes to modification, we don't accept it, and that's why the delusion continues. The fact is that we cannot change the modification, but we feel that we can change. I feel that I can upbring my child in a good manner. I can make him intelligent. I can do this, I can do that. I have got a lot of list going on. But here the principle suggests that nothing is in your hand. You as an entity of soul, you are only a knower and not doer. And these modifications of yours will come in the same sequence. All the 3 times modification of each substance is predetermined, and it appears in the same manner. Nobody can change it, not even Narendra, Indra, and Jinendra Bhagwan can change it. This is what they wanted to prove. And for that, they have taken the support of this Pravachan Sarji's verse number 99, because that also depicts the same principle. Okay, so this is Dravyan Yog that you are looking at now. Each moment has one corresponding modification and it is fixed. Okay, so the number of time in the whole universe is fixed, and in each time moment there is a modification of each substance fixed. Now it cannot be changed in any manner. This is what we need to accept. Each moment has one corresponding moment. So one moment is there and one modification is there. Both are corresponding to one another, and it is fixed. Just as on every space point of the inhabited world, one smallest indivisible unit of time, Kalanu, is encrusted. Encrusted means kachit, engrossed. It cannot be moved, removed, nothing. So too in each and every moment across the three times, one modification of every substance is encrusted, fixed and definite. If we reflect from the perspective of attributes, then even each attribute has one modification encrusted in every moment across all three times. In this way, when each modification is encrusted, fixed in its own time, then what scope remains for any interchanging? This is the question that is being asked. So, there is no scope of interchanging, just simply accept it. In this context, the sentence found in the commentary is also worth noting. Each modification manifests only in its own moment, not before, not after. The overall conclusion that emerges from all these is that whatever modification of whichever substance is to occur at every time and due to what cause it occurs precisely in accordance with that. So everything is predestined. That is what they want to convey here. And through the examples also, now we'll be looking at the chart. Now that chart, not Jinali, Hemal is going to share now. Okay. So
I'm
Hemal,
shared.
yeah, you'll be able to share now.
So I've shared. I'm
Acha,
already
acha,
shared.
shared. Yeah. So you can just enlarge it at your end. Um, so this is on one column, it is the regular expansion sequence of area. Okay, that is the space point, and there regular flow sequence of time. Both have been compared. Okay, if the entire area space of a substance is viewed simultaneously from the perspective of expansion, its entire field is one indivisible whole. Similarly, if the modifications of a substance across three times, the flow, unified flow, are viewed simultaneously from the perspective of a single flow, its flow across three times is one indivisible whole. Okay. So corresponding it is being compared. Okay. Space point compared to the time. Okay. A part of the substance expansion sequence is a spatial point. The smallest indivisible part of the substance expansion is a spatial point, pradesh, or space point. Similarly, the smallest indivisible part of the modification is of the substance flow sequence is its modification. In space, there is a regular expansion sequence of spatial points. In time, there is a regular flow of sequence of modification. In a necklace of beads, the bead in a particular position will always remain at that number, and a change is not possible. Otherwise, the necklace will break. Similarly, the time for the appearance of a beads in a swinging necklace is regular. This refers to the process used in jap or chanting, holding a necklace between two fingers and systematically sliding one bead at a time. So that bead cannot be changed. Its position cannot be changed. And it will also appear in the fixed sequence, one after the another. Now this example of Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata are simply names of parts of the area. Just as the area of Mumbai cannot be picked up and placed in the area of Delhi, a single spatial point cannot be moved from its place and shifted forwards or backwards. Similarly, months and days like January, February, or Sunday, Monday are simply names for parts of time. Just as a time part Like January cannot be made to be February. Similarly, the one-time part modification state of any substance cannot be made to be before or after it. So it will appear in its designated time. It cannot be changed. Okay. A living being space points are equal in number to the spatial points of the Lokakas, space occupied by the universe. The modification states of every substance are equal in number to the moments of the three times. Okay, so the modification of every substance are equal in number to the moments of the three times. So each modification has been aligned with one moment of the time. Okay, so three times, all the three times take and all the modification you take, one is aligned in one time. Now this cannot be changed. Okay, the last, on each spatial point of the Lokakash, one Kalanu is fixed. In each moment of the three times, one modification of every substance is fixed, embedded. So all this gives us the conclusion, just as space points cannot be changed from its place, the modifications cannot be changed from its sequence flow. Okay, so this is the principle that has been explained. You have to read one more time, one or two times more. I think now you will be clear, but this is one of the very subtlest kind of um, understanding that is there, and the language is a bit harsh, but if you read it two three times, then everything becomes clear. Acharya wants to explain us the principle of sequentially bound modification through this verse, and just as space points cannot be altered, similarly the modification cannot be altered. You have to accept this truth. Okay, and when you accept this truth, there is nothing that you have to do in the outside world. So your active consciousness is now free, and it will connect to yourself, and the self realization will happen. So this is the essence of knowing this principle of sequentially bound modification. Now, as the time as the time we saw that is fixed, similarly what is going to happen, the destiny is also fixed. Okay, and it also negates the doership. There is no way that you can do any changes in the destiny. Okay, so 7 references have been given in the module number 14. The first is by Acharya Samantbhadra in its work of Swambhu Stotra states, here addressing the Lord, Acharya Samanbhadra says, O Jindev, you have rightly declared that inevitability, that is bhavitavyata, that is called destiny, whose manifestation is indicated by the effect arising from a dual cause. What are these dual cause? So one is principal cause and other is the instrumental cause. Okay, two types of cause only. Arising from a dual cause is of inviolable power. Inviolable power means you cannot alter that. That is, its force cannot be transgressed. What is destined to happen inevitably occurs. Still, this helpless worldly Jeev remains afflicted with the arrogance that I can perform this act, even though without that inevitability of manifestations, he is incapable of accomplishing that act despite bringing together numerous contributing causes. Okay, so destiny cannot be changed. So when destiny cannot be changed, why are you taking doership on your head? Accept it and be free. Just enjoy your life, right? Everything is happening on its own in a fixed manner. There is no way that we can make any changes. So when we understand this principle, our doership also goes away. Okay. So this is what they wanted to prove. So this is the first reference. Now we will see another reference by Muni Padmanandi. People constantly contemplate their own welfare in their minds each day, but that inevitability, Bhavitavya, destiny that has arrived acts only in accordance with what it finds agreeable. Therefore, noble individuals remaining free from the poison of attachment and aversion should abandon the multitude of alternatives that arise excessively under the sway of delusion and always abide in contentment. Okay. So people always try to change things, but it's not in our hand. Whatever is destined, that happens. So when you accept this thing, automatically the poison of attachment and aversions doesn't arise. The third reference, Pandit Asadarji. If through the teaching of the true Guru, you have rightly determined and understood the inner secret of the Lord's doctrine, then renounce the egoistic sense of doership, of I am the doer, and take refuge in the venerable inevitability. Okay. So if you have understood this principle, then you accept this destiny and leave this ego of doership. I am the doer. Number 4. In the above words, inevitability has been referred to as venerable or divine Bhagwati. In his commentary on this verse, Pandit Sri Yugal Kishorji Mukhtar writes, in the knowledge of the omniscient Lord, whatever action is revealed, when, where, by whom, and in what manner it is to occur, that will indeed take place at that very time, in that very place, by that very agent, and in that very manner. This declaration regarding the future does not diminish the essence of inevitability in any way, for in the omniscient's knowledge, the ensemble of causes associated with that action is also revealed. Everything the omniscient's knowledge is reflecting. The verse does not affirm any kind of absolute fatalism or causeless inevitability, which is logically untenable. Moreover, the substance do not transform in with the omniscient's knowledge. Rather, the manifestation in the omniscient knowledge occurs according to the transformation of substances. Knowledge is in accordance with the knowable, not the other way around. Now, I will take one lecture on this particular line. Knowledge is in accordance with the knowable, not the other way around. So in Hindi it is written like this. ज्ञान ज्ञेयाकार है. ज्ञान ज्ञेयाकार है, न कि ज्ञेय ज्ञानाकार. So Gyan is knowledge, Gyanakar is the reflection that is happening on the knowledge screen, and the Gney is the object. Okay, so that object is reflecting in the knowledge screen, and that knowledge screen here is being referred to as Gneyakar. Actually, it is the knowledge itself, but because the object is reflecting in that Then that's why it is called Gneyakar. That is, the shape of the object is reflecting in the knowledge screen. So in reality, it is the knowledge itself. Knowledge is in accordance with the knowables and not the other way around. Okay. So this will come back to this later on in the next class. I'll try to explain the relationship between the knowledge, gyan, and the gne, the knowables. Okay. So the there are two elements only. One is knowledge and the other is knowables. Both are separate. There is no relationship between them. Okay. But a relationship is being established from the conventional point of view. So we will understand the whole technology of the knowledge and the knowables in the next class. Uh, Today, let's finish this module. Todermalji, fifth reference. Fifth reference is of Todermalji. So in total, we are going to read 7 references. After this, fifth one is from Todermalji. In this way, through anger, through anger arises the desire to cause harm, but the occurrence of harm is dependent upon inevitability, destiny. Similarly, from pride arises the desire to be regarded as great, but the attainment of greatness is dependent upon inevitability. In the same way, one may employ deceit to scheme for the fulfillment of one's wishes, yet the actual fulfillment is subject to inevitability. Likewise, from greed arises the yearning for desired gains, but their attainment is governed by inevitability. So, manifesting passion is futile because things doesn't happen according to our passions. Things is independent. It appears on its own at the right time. But we unnecessarily manifest passions and bind infinite karmas. Understanding this principle of sequentially bound modification, we are relaxed. There is nothing on our head to do because everything is happening independently. Number 6 reference, Kashai Pau. Here, the in the 5 concomitant factors, one is this destiny, and now the other factor is being considered, that is time. Okay. Kashai Paud and Dhavla also state, question, why did the divine sound, Divya Dhvani, not manifest during those 66 days? So this is the references of Bhagwan Mahavir Swami. You know, after Mahavir Swami attained omniscience knowledge, the Divya Dhvani, the divine sound, did not manifest for 66 days. Why? Because of the absence of a chief disciple, Gandhar. The Gandhar was not there, so the Vani was not coming out. Divya Dhvani was not coming out. The next question, why did Saudharma Indra not summon a chief disciple at that time? Answer, he did not, because without appropriate time of attainment, the helpless Saudharma Indra lacked the power to summon him at that time. Okay. So again, unless and until the right time comes, things doesn't happen. And when the things has to happen, all the 5 commitment factors come together and the action takes place. There is nothing in our hand. We unnecessarily manifest passions every now and then. And in spite of manifesting passions, things doesn't happen according to our expectation. Okay. And this is the chief cause of our miseries. Okay. If you are able to accept this principle of sequentially bound modification, the passions will not arise at all. Okay. So this is the 6th reference. Now the 7th reference. In the cited passage from the Kartikvinu Preksha, it is stated that in exceedingly clear terms, that the transformation which is to occur in accordance with a particular substance, space, time, and mode. Dravya, Kshetra, Kal, and Bhav, as seen by the Jineshwar, cannot be altered, not even by Indra, nor by the Jineshwar himself. Okay, so this is the conclusion of this whole discussion, that uh, we conclude that for every action to take place, there are five concomitant factors that come together and the action takes place, and that action is is the time of that action is predetermined. The action itself is also predetermined, means destiny is predetermined. The instrumental cause is also coming on its own, and the nature is always present, inherent nature, and the efforts is something that is in our hand, and that is what we can do consciously, and all other factors will come on its own, and the action will happen at the right time. So this takes away from our head the doership. We can do nothing. We can only know we are a knower, and we should stick to that extent only. We should not go beyond knowing. But due to ignorance, due to delusion, people go beyond knowing and they become a doer. They do oneness with it, they do mindness with it, they do doership, they do enjoyship of those, and unnecessarily binds infinite karma since time immemorial, and it has been suffering in the four states of existence since time immemorial. So, understanding this principle will lead us to experience our soul, and with the experience of the soul, the eternal bliss will be experienced, and that eternal bliss will go on increasing as you practice more science of discrimination, as you apply more principles in your day to day life. So, this is going to be a very happy journey from the beginning to the end. Your happiness is going to increase, 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 and increase. And then there will come a time when you manifest complete happiness and you get liberated. Okay. So, with this, we end. I could have done one more module, there is time left, but uh, I am my I didn't get a good sleep because of place of change, and there is here little bit of cold also. So I'm not taking it further. But one thing I will do next class, in the next Saturday, um, we will again take up that verse number 99 without reading it. I will explain you in a nutshell, and then we move forward. Okay. So we will move forward to the 15th module next week. Today is what date? I think today is 10th, right? So
11.
your
11,
yeah,
sir.
11th, yeah, so right, 11th.
11.
Yesterday was 10th. Yesterday was 10th.
Yeah.
Okay. So 21st is the last date for your homework. Okay. Do you remember, no?
So I'll repost it.
You-
Yeah, you repost. Just remind every 2-3 days. I will also try to remind.
Nay, but you have not given, sir, the second one. Have you given? You said you will give last week.
You're not given?
No. You said
Hemali?
last week you will give.
Hemali,
Yes, sir.
we have given or not?
Um, no, sir, we have to give. So you have to give.
One
This
minute.
week you said you will give.
This week you have to give something. I'm also seeing.
Hmm.
So the last one given was CC1 MMP on the glory of delusion.
Okay. So now this I'll give in the next week. Okay. So there now I will be giving you CC2. CC2 will do it later on. But first, okay, CC2 and GM, Kandar Mulyankan. Okay. These two I will be giving you from this Krambat Paryay. So I think it will take few more weeks to cover up the syllabus, and then I will be in a position to give you the homework. So your last one is over. Okay, 4th October was there, Moksha Marg Prakashak, and before that we have done Viva. So two are over, two will be done from here, and then CC3 will be done from the paper 3. Okay. So we close here. If you have any questions, I hope you have understood it. And still, if you have any questions, you can ask right now. I will be happy to answer. And otherwise, you read again and try to understand. Apart from the language, the structure and everything is very simple and clear. Only glitch is with the language. The language is a bit hard, but if you read it again and again, I think you will be able to understand that with the example of the space points, he wants to prove that the sequence are all fixed. Since space points cannot be removed from one place to another place, similarly, one modification cannot be removed from its original place, right? So it happens in its own time, predestined time, and that cannot be altered by anybody. And when we accept this, there is nothing in terms of in our head to do anything. And when we are free from doership, our active consciousness automatically takes shelter of our soul. And when it takes shelter of our soul, the self realization and the experience of eternal bliss uh, is experienced, and that's the path of liberation. Okay, so this principle is very important from that perspective, that it um, helps you in realizing yourself. Okay, so it has to be understood very clearly.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So when we did this thing of, just as a number of space points, that entire paragraph on page 15,
Hmm.
that each moment has a corresponding modification and it is fixed.
Yes,
And
yes.
then it says that across all three times,
Hmm.
there is one modification of a substance that is encrusted, fixed and definite. So
Right.
does it mean that, for
Hmm.
instance, right now, if there is a modification inside of me,
Hmm.
because of this modification,
Hmm.
the outcome will be this in the future, or this modification happened to me because of something of the past? Is that how? So it is, the entire journey is like a loop of infinity that we draw. Uh,
Hmm.
Everything is kind of connected like that. That this is the present, this is the future, and then this is because of the past. This happened in the future, and this is how we reacted in the present. So this is what will happen in the future. Is it like that?
No, it's not like that. They wanted to say that you have efforts in your hand.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the past, you have bounded many karmas,
Correct.
but present is in your hand. In the present, if you are able to comprehend things as they are, you in the present, if you are able to get rid of the delusion, then your past karmas also cannot do anything to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So by understanding these principles in the present, you can be in happy space. Although there may be a rise of karma which demands that you manifest anger, you manifest pride. But because of your effort, right effort, I would say,
Mm.
you can not manifest anger. This is something that you can do consciously.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay?
that is that is what I'm
Yeah.
saying, so that this is your present, and the loop
Hmm.
that's ahead is your future, and the loop that's behind is your past. You know that
Okay.
infinite loop like this? So it's
Pardon?
like that. So that loop of infinity that we draw in maths.
No, I'm not aware of that principle. That's why I'm not able to understand your question.
Okay, okay, okay.
You can explain me in simple
Yeah.
words what is this loop of infinity?
No, sir. Like we have, it. No, sir. What I'm trying to say is exactly what you also said. So, sir, when there is a modification inside of me,
Hmm.
it is either got to do with something of the past or it will have an effect on the future. Like if I don't react and don't get angry, then it'll be like it'll be like a better thing in the future. So that's how it's connected. So I don't know how to.
So, like in the present, if you are not reacting, right, then you
Yeah,
are not binding new karmas. So, if you are not binding new karmas, your future is also affected, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because what we are getting right now is our past deeds, right?
Hmm.
So, now you are not binding new karmas and the old ones are getting over in
Hmm.
its own time, and
Hmm.
you are not binding new ones. So, a time will come when all the karmas will be finished and you
Yeah,
will get liberated.
I got it, sir.
So you were able not to react just because of your understanding of this, and this is the effort that we have to put in.
Sir, I think her question is related to causality. That is the cause and effect relationship is already there. That if we do something positive, then we will bear the positive fruits of it. If we are whatever we are doing today, in the future we will ripe great fruits of it. This is
Hmm.
the basic cause and effect principle. And if this principle is there,
Hmm.
does it not come in conflict with the the uh, the sequence bound modifications, that all the future modifications are fixed at this point of time?
Mm, again, come again. I am
No, it will
trying to
not come.
understand.
It won't come in conflict, no? Because, so for instance, like if you think of the whole thing that Sir had said that when we spend two-thirds of our life, our next life is already determined. So it means that whatever I've done, um, it's kind of already determined, probably the future next three lives that I'm going to take.
No, 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 no. Only one life. We are binding karmas of the next life
Yeah,
only.
yeah, but Omniscient Lord knows three lives, no, of ours.
Three lives is reflected in that Bhamandal, but we are
Actually,
not.
infinite lives are fixed.
Ah,
For example,
all.
Marichi, for Marichi, sir, Adinath Bhagwan could say at that moment only that he will become the 24th Tirthankar, and it
Right,
was
right.
about infinite lives in between.
Hmm,
So
hmm,
he
hmm.
could determine infinite lives in advance. That means everything up to infinity is all fixed. Then where is the causation? That is, if Marichi could have done something differently, he would have ended up something else or somewhere else. Is it a remote possibility? That is what I think she's.
No, it's not that, no, because effort is also, although we don't know, but our effort is also predetermined, no. So
Yeah.
there is no role that we are playing actually, if you think about it. Our role is to not react. Isn't it, sir?
Our role is not to react. That means you are an observer. So be an observer,
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
So why you are becoming a doer? The problem is, as nature of things are all, um, as the nature of reality is that every soul is a god. Okay, every soul is a knower, right? But we don't remain a knower, no? There is the problem.
Yeah.
Because of delusion, we try to become a doer. Okay, although we try to become a doer, but we are not actually a doer, because everything is happening in its predestined time, predestined manner. Everything is, prefixed.
Mm.
So our doership does not play any role in the unfolding of events in our life. So unnecessarily we are binding new karmas. But if you accept this principle that you are only a knower and things unfold on its own, and as a soul, your job is to know, right? So if you understand this principle, you can remain a knower. If you understand this principle, you will be able to realize yourself. Realize yourself means that you were a knower, and you now also accept that you are a knower. That is the realization, right? So this principle helps us to connect to ourself. We are not able to connect out to ourselves because on our head we feel that we have responsibilities, we are doing of this, we are doer of that. Because of ignorance, because of delusions, we have all these inhibitions in ourselves. Okay, but when you realize the truth, when you realize the structure, that there is no way to connect to ourselves, then you will be able to realize that there is no responsibility, there is no responsibility to anyone.
So we can't hear you.
Yes, sir, you are not audible.
It is a signal, I think.
Yeah. So Soumya I was looking at it as a graph. So we can't hear you. Mm. So, I was looking at it as a graph that, okay, this is my present moment. This is how I reacted in the future. Whatever.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
got angry. So in the future, I kind of,
Hmm.
bind certain thing, and this is what it is. And eventually it kind of becomes like an infinite thing. This is what I did in the past. So I was sitting on that flight, which was
Hmm.
taking
Hmm.
off from Ahmedabad, and
Hmm.
I kind of lost my current
Yeah.
whatever life. So I was thinking of it like that, like on a graph sheet.
Yeah, so it does not every time it does not have to be like an infinity shape now, because for example we can take example of a movie and different frames that constitute that movie.
Yeah.
So maybe every frame in the movie has its own place. It's not
Yes.
possible that we change the we take a frame from the starting point and
Correct.
paste it somewhere in at the end.
Hmm.
So every frame is connected to the next frame.
Yeah.
Because yeah, so the first frame will be the cause, and the subsequent frame will be the effect of that frame. So there is a cause and effect relationship between each subsequent or the
Yeah.
continuous flow of frames.
Yeah.
So that way, if we see in Punya Pap and the result of that Punya Pap, that also has cause and effect relationship. So it is possible that in this infinite transmigration cycle that we are in, whatever we are doing today, we will reap the fruits of it in the future. What will we will be doing in the future, we will reap again in the future of that future. We will
Hmm.
be reaping the fruits of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but that does not need to be an infinite loop, because here we can break the loop by changing our perspective of our understanding or our perspective. That is what is in our hands, and that is out of five concomitant factors, the Purusharth factor.
Yeah. Effort.
When we are talking about this, this is the
Effort.
only thing that breaks the loop,
Yeah.
because other things are already fixed. And actually, our Purusharth, whatever, whether we will be understanding it in the subsequent future or not, that is also
Yeah.
predetermined in a
Yeah. Yeah.
sense, because
Absolutely.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so because Bhavya, Abhavya are kinds of jeev that we have already studied in way back in Balbodh. So if we are, for example, if somebody is an Abhavya jeev, uh, no matter how much effort he puts into understanding all these concepts, he will never be able to attain that.
Absolutely.
And because yeah, so it is clear that it is not because we don't know what our future holds. Therefore, we say that we have Purusharth in our hands and we will try to do it.
Hmm.
Otherwise, if you see the bigger picture, in the bigger scheme of things, our Purusharth is also determined. For
Correct.
example, in both the examples of Marichi, for example, he did not know that if I will be opposing Adinath, I will end up becoming Mahavir and I will take infinite births in between. So he did not know where his Purusharth was being diverted to. But it was in the scheme of things which were already known to Adinath Bhagwan.
Yeah.
Similarly, Dwarika Dahan, for example, yeah. So Dwaipayan Muni thought that he will be changing destiny. He will do something differently, but that was not how things unfolded.
Correct, yeah.
So
Correct then.
ultimately, we have to understand that Purusharth, maybe we have Purusharth in our hands and we have to understand. But ultimately, whether we will be able to do right Purusharth or wrong Purusharth is also predestined and it is known to the Kebali Bhagwan.
Yeah.
Lord has come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in between, I had a internet issue. So we will take this forward. So the cause and effect relationship that you were saying, that is Nimit Nemitik Sambandh you were telling?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
also.
No,
Sir, वो
Soumya
तो
was explaining.
So I was trying to explain, sir, that I was seeing like if you were to take a graph paper
Hmm.
and if this is your present and constantly there are modifications taking place. So for instance, from the present, okay, you did not manifest anger at this particular point, so you get one thing over here. Or in the past, you had kind of destroyed a whole forest, so you were on that flight which went to Ahmedabad and you kind of lost your life or whatever. So what I'm saying is from the present, all these points get kind of marked. It may not, yeah, as Soumya said, it may not be an infinite loop, maybe it will not form, but that is how it is, right? It is all kind of connected to my present, and the past is also kind of reflected in my
So
present.
I'm just trying to understand your question, that we had learned one concept in Moksha Marg Prakashak, that from material karma you get bhav karma, right? And again, because of bhav karma, you bind another dravya karma. So this cycle goes on. That is what you want to say? How to break this cycle?
That is by effort, no, sir?
So that is by effort. That it is not necessary that you manifest emotions when there is a rise of dravya karma. Okay? It is in your hand. It is because of your effort that although dravya karma is there, the situation demands that you need to manifest anger, but because by the dint of your efforts, you are not manifesting that anger. So that is your Purusharth. Okay? So we are not in the hands of any authority, any karma that we have to do this, such and such. Right? We are independent on our own what to manifest. Okay? So that is what the effort defines. That there is a rise of karma, but let the rise of karma be there. But because of your dint of understanding these principles and the other principles that you have learned, you are able not to manifest the anger. Okay? And when you are not manifesting anger, so you are not binding new karmas, and the old ones will come and go away, and time will come when you will get liberated. So this is how it's going to happen. Okay. So it's not a loop. Okay. It's not a vicious circle that we are in, that we are bound by this karmas and all. We are very independent to break this cycle of the birth and death, birth and death, birth and death by dint of our efforts. Okay? So if you understanding this principle is effort. Okay. So similarly, if you understand all these principles and you are able to apply it in your day-to-day life, this is what this is what you can do as an effort, and the result will be that you will be um, destroying all your past karmas. You are not binding, and a time will come that all the karmas have been destroyed, and you will get liberated. Okay. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
And
we'll
that
take it.
time is also predestined, predetermined, everything.
So as I said, ki when we talk of effort, we will not say it is predestined. Because effort is something that you have to put in. And effort is something that is in your hand. Right?
Hmm.
So we define, when we talk from the perspective of effort, you have to do. Okay. But when we talk from the perspective of destiny, when we talk from the perspective of time, okay, everything is predestined. Okay. So only in terms of effort, I am not ready to accept it predestined. Okay. Effort is something that you have to put consciously, okay, and things will happen automatically. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है. 9 times नमोकार मंत्र. बोलो दात सांगी जिनवाणी माता की जय. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra. Jai
You can
Jinendra,
stop
sir.
the recording and you can retrieve it and send me across whatever way you can. Okay. Otherwise, I will guide you how to do it. Let me ask my son. One time earlier also he has done this for me. So I'll ask him what format I want. Okay.
I'll do it, sir.
Okay. But you cannot upload on my
Yeah.
YouTube, right?
No, I will not. No, I'll send it to you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Jai
Jai
Jinendra.
Jinendra.
Thank you.
Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jai.